and welcome to episode 56 of Life in General. My name is Nick.
And I'm Ian.
That's a really poor sounding Ian.
Yes. No, this is sexy, man. I'm bringing sexy back in vocal terms.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
It's your phone voice?
This is the voice that's going to get me laid.
Hello, my name is Ian.
Of course, the feverish sweat that I was going through before would be dead turn off, but the voice is sexy.
How you doing? My name is Ian.
Yeah, exactly. How you doing? No, it doesn't sound right.
It does sound right.
It just sounds sickly and disgusting.
And that's different from normal how? Exactly.
Yeah. I don't usually sound sickly. Disgusting maybe, but not sickly.
Yeah. As always, you can email us any questions or comments to contact@lifeandjournalpodcast.com. Check us out on Facebook and on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @LIGpod. We're on Podbean, iTunes, all that stuff. Check out our website, which is lifeandjournalpodcast.com. I've been trying to kind of revamp it a little bit.
The website?
Yeah, because I didn't like the section where it had all of our previous episodes on there. Of course, you can check out all of our previous episodes.
Yes.
Yeah, on the website. But, yeah, so it was like just one long page, because we're up to 50. So there's 55 episodes on there now.
Right.
5 episodes on our main page and then 50.
In the archive page.
Yeah, on the archive page. And it was just really long to kind of scroll through. So I kind of broke it up in a couple of different pages. I put 25 on each page. Just make it look a little better, make it flow a little better, I think. So
a little easier, too, maybe to keep track if people are going back and listening to
them.
Yeah,
of course.
Especially if they might be listening to them out of order.
Yeah. Always check out our website for all the previous episodes, and you can find us we're on Spotify and iHeartRadio and all that, too. So we did this last year, too. We did a little, look back at the first year of the podcast and all that, and
now we're looking back on 2 years.
2 years. Well, or at least on the second year.
Right.
So on the 7th of January was actually the 2-year anniversary
of our first recording.
Yeah. So our first recording we recorded on 1717, which wasn't done intentionally. It just kind of happened that way.
Until you just said it, I didn't even notice that.
Which is funny because I actually went back and listened to our 1-year anniversary show. I listened to it a couple days ago.
And did you mention it?
And I mentioned that, and then you said the exact same thing.
Well, I totally forgot, because I honestly didn't even make the connection again. So I don't make those kind of connections usually. I know you do. I don't.
Yeah. So the first year that we did the show, we did Life in General. We did a little short show called Partisan Bites.
Yep.
Which was it was 12 episodes, I think, is what we ended up doing.
I think we did 12 of those.
And that was kind of like a purely political / news kind of show.
Well, it was political news on your end and political commentary on my end. Because mine was, I used facts, but it was mostly my opinion and ranting.
So it was the Fox News version of Ian.
Well, but with facts and reason and logic.
I was talking about more the opinion-based stuff than the news-based.
It was editorial.
Because I kind of looked at it was, if you haven't listened to the show, they were short, 10, I think they were 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think the longest one was 15 or 16 minutes.
Yeah. So they were short episodes, and it was just one of us by ourselves. We released them on the off weeks from Life in General. And I kind of looked at the way I did my episodes as kind of looking back at news of the week that kind of wasn't covered the way I thought it should be covered, or stuff that got buried. I kind of did, news like that. But yeah, you looked at it purely as
I looked at the news that pissed me off.
Yeah.
And talked about that.
Yeah. So yours was like Ian ranting for 15 minutes.
Essentially, I kept it not crazy guy on a soapbox, but
they were interesting. I mean,
I did my best.
And so we did 12 of those, and it was really fun to do, but my work schedule kind of got in the way of at least me doing mine. So then you kind of picked that up and did your own thing for
3 episodes.
3 episodes.
Yes. I'm going to do that again, but
and we'll get to that, later. I was going to bring that up, but so the first year, so in 2017, we actually recorded 51 podcast episodes. Do you know how many we recorded in 2018?
I think more.
Do you?
I'm suspecting, because we did another show in 2018 called Entertainment Now.
Yeah.
And I think
which we actually started in 2017.
Okay, fair enough. But how far into 2017 did we start that one?
Well, I can't tell you that because you know how many episodes of...
I'm guessing. I think we did, 26?
We did 25 episodes
25? Okay.
Entertainment Now, yeah.
All right.
Which, the Entertainment Now podcast, we just kind of reviewed movies and music and stuff.
Right.
I guess since we kind of started the podcast, we've had these like little side projects.
Just to keep things interesting and flowing.
Yeah. Cover stuff that we generally don't cover on Life in General.
Right.
Because especially with Partisan Bites, because we tried to, I think early on we got more political than I really wanted to.
Right.
And I think we got, I don't know, it just wasn't kind of where I wanted the show to go. So I thought Partisan Bites was kind of a good way to do that without having it on our show.
Right.
And I think it worked. And then after a while, we were like, I'm so tired of talking about politics.
Right, yeah. Because, it really was kind of a break from doing it on the show and trying to keep the show interesting and not all politics.
Yeah.
But then it got daunting because it was still politics. And
Yeah.
And anyone who's breathing right now in the world knows that politics is just toxic.
Yeah. And it was kind of like, when I originally came up with the idea for the show, I envisioned Life in General to be kind of like everything. I want to talk about everything.
Right.
We've done episodes on home brewing and the cultural impact of The Simpsons, and we've been all over the map. We've done quite a few political shows, but we've also talked about unsolved mysteries, the crazy flat Earth people,
right? Hopefully we'll revisit them again because there's some new theories out there that just
I'd love to because that was actually one of our most listened to shows. By the way,
was it? Yeah.
So like I said, we did 51 in 2017. What do you think we did in 2018?
I'm gonna say we probably did 48.
Ooh, you're close.
Was I?
Yeah, you're close. 44.
Really?
We did 44. So this is, so this is the 96th podcast that we've done.
Wow.
Between all the shows, which that's kind of cool. If one would have 100.
Well, 100. Yeah, absolutely.
So in 2018 we did 27 episodes of Life in General. We did 17 episodes of Entertainment Now.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, if my math is correct, that's 44.
I'm going to trust your math.
27 and 17, yeah, that's 44.
Yeah, my brain's much like my voice right now. So
mushy.
My voice isn't mushy; it's like scratchy and.
Well, I was saying your brain is mushy, but
it is. Always though, that's no excuse.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Not for any other. It's just mushy all the time. Technically, all of our brains are mushy, though. I think.
Yeah, they kind of are.
Yeah, the gray matter is kind of like spongy.
Yeah, I dissected a sheep's brain.
Did you really?
In A&P, my A&P class last semester. That was kind of fun.
See, that'd be the only reason I'd want to go to like nursing school or be a doctor is just to do that kind of stuff.
We did
we'd cut up cadavers and stuff and see what's going on.
Yeah, we can't do. They won't let us do cadavers. But,
I know because you're not doctors. But.
Yeah. There's we did like dissected cat muscles and things like that. Well,
right.
So we didn't actually cut into the cat. We just looked at the muscles and stuff. And we did like cow eyes and things like that. So
eyes would be the only thing I don't like.
Those are but they're really those are interesting.
The mechanics of it I think are interesting, but the gooiness of it is gross.
Yeah, they do. When you cut into them, they kind of pop like grapes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta be careful because when you cut into them, they can like squirt in your face, and you don't want cow eye juice in your mouth.
Just a little side thing. There's a YouTube channel called Slow Mo Guys.
Yeah.
And they have these like really high speed cameras, and they just film like stupid shit in slow motion. They've done some really like elaborate stuff. Like they've blown shit up. And, but one was they took pig eyes and put them in a watermelon and shot BBs at them to see what would happen in slow motion. It was kind of gross. It's kind of gross, but it was cool.
Yeah. Eyes are always kind of the one thing that bothered me. Remember, like the, I don't know. I don't think they still have. They used to have like the surgery channel where you could like watch like surgeries.
I think I remember being out. I never watched it, but that would be awesome.
Oh yeah, I used to watch this shit all the time. I thought it'd be really cool to be a surgeon. But I never wanted to do the schooling for all of it.
Right.
But yeah, the only thing that really ever bothered me were the eyeball surgery.
Yeah,
the eye surgeries.
I can't deal with that.
And because they run that machine. Well, I don't know how they still do it that way, but they like run a machine across your eye and would like cut off, cut open your eye. Yeah, it was really interesting.
Yeah, the little. I don't know if you've ever been to an eye doctor.
The little puff of air.
Yeah, that bothered me so much. Just the idea of it.
They're checking for glaucoma.
I know what it's for.
Okay.
But just the idea, because my eyes are very sensitive to like that kind of thing. I needed glasses for like 7 years before I actually broke down and went and got glasses because I didn't want to have that fucking test.
Really? Yeah, but the test sucks. But it
wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Actually,
no. But I mean, glaucoma is one of the things that's really easy to prevent.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you can take a pill to reduce or eye drops, I think is what it is.
Yeah. See, I can't put eye drops in my eyes.
But it's to reduce the pressure in your eye because eventually you'll go blind if it's untreated.
I understand that.
So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it depends on how old I am. If I'm like in my 70s, fuck it, I'm just going to go blind.
I don't care how old I am. I never want to go blind.
New way to perceive the world, I guess. Like if I'm and it's me. If I'm in my 70s, I'm already like 10 years past my life expectancy. So, what the hell?
I'd rather be like a paraplegic than go blind. Not quadriplegic, paraplegic.
Yeah.
I'd rather lose the ability to walk than lose my vision.
Not to say that I could still do it, but I don't know. Just the idea of losing my ability to have sex. I don't know. You can still do that if you're blind.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't want to go blind.
Well, I don't want to either. I mean, that'd be stupid, but
well,
I'm just saying.
Of course.
I'm just saying if it's I can't put eye drops in my eyes. I could never do contacts ever.
Oh yeah, you could.
No.
Oh sure you could.
No, I couldn't. There's no fucking way.
If you had to, you could.
I highly doubt it. I can't even watch people put contacts in.
Just because you can't touch your eye? I mean,
yeah. Fuck yeah.
Well, you'd get over it quick, I think.
Well, I can't think of any scenario where I'd have to wear contacts.
No, I mean, someone put a gun to your head. Put these contacts in, or I'm going to shoot you. I don't know why I did a voice there, but
yeah, especially a voice like that.
I don't even know what that was.
Like, your gun is scaring me, but your voice is making me want to laugh.
What the hell is going on right now?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'd have to contemplate.
I think I would rather even. I think I'd rather lose an arm than go blind.
Huh. Well, considering my recent sex life, as long as I've got one arm, I guess I can still have sex.
Jesus. I guess the only thing, I would rather go blind than deaf.
Yeah, see,
deaf would be terrible for me.
The idea, because we love music.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know what I could do without having music available to me.
Well, I was thinking more so like hearing my children and things like that.
Yeah, but I mean, you've heard your children.
But have you heard your children? What was that from? You can love your pets.
Just don't love your pets.
That was
pets. Truth About Cats and Dogs.
Is that what it was?
Janeane Garofalo, yes.
Janeane Garofalo.
Yeah, I don't know why people give her a hard time. She's always been pretty funny. I like her dry, deadpan humor.
She just has a bad name, I think is what it is.
I guess.
Then she's female. I think females get more shit than
males,
especially in the comedian.
That's true.
In the comic world.
And I think, and you have to figure that's even going back to the 90s and shit.
Because I think a lot of times, female comics have to almost kind of sink lower than male comics to get any kind of
attention,
possibly, or respect.
Possibly. I always loved that it was at like the MTV Movie Awards, and it was the year that American Pie came out.
Yeah.
And they're interviewing her, and she goes, "What's not to love about an award show that gives an award to a movie about a guy who fucks a pie?" And this is on MTV. And she goes, "Oh, wait, can I say pie on TV?" And I just cracked up, because this is the idea of,
I think I remember that.
Fuck a pie. And because pie has a sexual connotation to it, too.
Yeah.
It was just, it was just witty. I thought
like
it was hilarious.
Warm apple pie.
Right.
Which is also from American Pie.
Right. Yeah, that movie is pretty raunchy.
Yeah, it is.
The second one was worse. I actually think the second one pushed the boundaries.
Probably. I don't think I've seen those in years.
Oh God, I haven't watched them. I did watch the direct to DVD like spin-off sequel type ones, and a couple of them are not bad at all. Actually, one of them specifically.
Weren't they like
really
college years or something like that?
It was, there was band camp, and it was just the same like universe.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's like the same high school.
Like other people,
other kids. Yeah,
difference in
band camp was okay, but Beta House.
That's the one I was thinking.
Or no, I'm sorry. Beta House was the third one. Naked Mile, which is like that one and Beta House are the only two that have the same characters in it.
Yeah.
The Naked Mile, and it takes place at the University of Michigan. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, I want to say it does.
Do they even do the Naked Mile? I don't think they do anymore.
As far as I know, they haven't done it in ages. But
yeah,
the only last time I even remember them doing it was like 2001, maybe.
No, I think they. Let's see. I moved to Tennessee in 2008. I know they did it a couple years before that. 'Cause I remember seeing it. I remember they would have it on the news.
Right.
You know,
I haven't even heard any talk about it.
The last couple of years that I know that they did it, but
I can't remember if they actually used University of Michigan in the movie. But the movie I thought kind of had the same. It was original, even though it was that story, but it just had a warmth to it that you kind of get from those kind of movies that the originals had. Beta House was a little weak, but it was a sequel kind of directly to Naked Mile.
Yeah. Of course you can't do the Naked Mile anymore. You'd probably offend somebody. And God forbid someone gets offended.
Well, I don't think it would be offense. It'd be more
no. Someone would be offended.
Oh, well, everyone was offended back then about it, but
everyone's offended by everything now.
I know, but I think it'd be more about like the objectification of women or the over-sexualization of people. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'd be specifically an offense. They would have actual like specific complaints about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, they wouldn't happen anymore.
It's unfortunate. But we've talked about that.
It is unfortunate, but it would be even more unfortunate if someone like me engaged in the practice.
Oh,
that would end it for sure.
No. Well, I mean, because
I know there are people would line up in the streets with cameras and shit.
I don't know.
There are people.
Okay,
dead.
well, nowadays for sure everyone have their phones out.
Exactly.
But,
before take a video of it.
Yeah. I don't know.
And you see,
it's
a couple of hot like college kids running by, and then you see my fat, sweaty ass going, and people just be like throwing their phones down and running. People be committing mass suicide.
You see people are running, and they just run by and look at somebody and just start like projectile vomiting.
Yeah. Just imagine any scenario possible when someone could see the worst thing ever, and that would be occurring on the sides. So
what you're saying would be like a Bird Box situation.
I haven't seen the movie yet. I couldn't say.
People will like see these demons or whatever they are, and then they kill themselves.
Yeah, that would yeah, absolutely. So my flabby, disgusting naked body is the Bird Box. Is the Bird Box monster. It explains a lot.
That's great.
Yeah, I have to apologize to all the women who've been nice enough to sleep with me now. I wonder if they're still alive.
You were the basis for the book.
Yes.
Which I heard the book was actually a lot better than the movie.
One of our coworkers is reading it. I'm going to have to ask him.
They said, I guess someone else that we work with, he hasn't seen the movie yet.
Right, he would read the book first.
Someone else that we work with read the book and saw the movie and said that the book was a whole lot better.
Really?
I liked the movie. I wasn't very fond of the ending. I don't like how the movie ended.
Right.
It just seemed too easy, I guess. But I don't know. You've got to see it.
I do need to watch it.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good for what it is. It's something different, I think.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of people compare it to The Happening, which I can see similarities.
If it's the trees that are doing it, then no. I'm not watching it.
It's not the trees that are doing it. It's invisible monsters.
Well. Okay. As long as it's not trees.
It's not. The Happening was terrible.
Yeah. I've told you, my friend Ben coined the phrase, and I use it all the time. The crappening, yes.
Yeah, it's because it was terrible.
Yes.
I think that was by far his worst movie.
That's saying a lot, because he also made Signs. The Village,
Signs. I don't think Signs
and
was
Lady
too
in
bad.
the Water.
I never saw Lady in the Water, but I saw Signs. I saw The Village. Those were okay. I mean, they weren't fantastic movies. They weren't Sixth Sense or nothing or anything like that. But
No, I mean, he was one of those people who I think
Flash in the pan.
Flash in the pan.
Well, I don't know
But
that, but he did.
I was going to say he was a flash in the pan, and then had to mature to become a halfway decent screenwriter and director. He's now where most people get to.
Yeah.
At progressively, most people would be doing The Sixth Sense in where he's at his career now.
Yeah, nowadays.
He did it right away, and then couldn't live up to it for a long time.
I mean, because
although Unbreakable was a good follow up. It's
and you haven't seen Split. I thought Split was fantastic.
Right, that's him. That's him maturing. I think.
Mandy didn't like it, but
he had to go through a lot of. He had to do a lot of shit, I guess, to get,
And Split was one of those movies. I'm sure I said it before to you, but it was one of those movies where you're watching it and you're like, "Wow, this is a really, really good movie." And then you're at the very end of the movie, you're like, "Holy shit, this is actually a sequel to Unbreakable." I had no idea it was a sequel.
And spoiler alert, if you didn't see it, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, it came out a couple years ago, so that's on you for not watching it.
Very true, very true. Did you know that one of his first movies was a Christian movie?
Really?
Yeah. I'm going to tell you what it's called real quick.
If you can find it.
I can find it right here.
I don't know how we got off on this subject. We're here to talk about our show, but...
I think it's called Wide Awake.
Really? What year is it released?
I don't have that info right now.
Was it done under his...
No, I think this was pre-Sixth Sense.
No, I mean, did he use the same name, or...
Oh, I don't know.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard about that. I guess I didn't know.
Well, and it's one of those, like... I guess it would actually be more classified as an inspirational film more than a Christian movie.
Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with some Christian movies. Some of them are really bad, and some
a lot of them are really bad.
A lot of them are, but some of them are pretty good. And the really good ones I've seen have been more inspirational than anything.
Well, the one that I'm thinking of is not mentioned here. Oh, maybe I looked at him. Never mind. I clicked on the wrong thing.
What's that? Stop sniffing in the microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry if my viral infection is annoying you. Wide Awake. Yeah.
Wide Awake. Why does that sound familiar?
1998, so it was 1 year before. And it's listed as a comedy drama, family comedy drama.
Huh. Yeah, it's for some reason it sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
Actually, the only reason I know about it is because one of the podcasts I listen to, it's called God Awful Movies.
Uh-huh.
They basically make fun of bad Christian movies.
Well, there's a lot of them, but...
Yeah. And to be fair, I would say that they haven't come across a good one, but I would get the feeling that aside from the Christian content of it, they would be, they actually have said good things about specific actors and specific shots and stuff. But typically, Christian movies have very low budgets.
Yeah.
They're generally not professional actors.
No.
So they're very easy to make fun of.
There was one, I don't remember them.
And just real quick, I don't know, maybe you can answer this for me. I know we're really off on a tangent here, but I've noticed they've done 160 episodes, and that's one movie an episode.
Yeah.
And in almost every single one of them that's not like apocalyptic, that's just like real life kind of thing, the moral of the story tends to be that the parents work too much.
Okay, well, none of the ones I've seen are like that.
Okay. I'm just curious why that is. I wouldn't say like all of them, but the vast majority of them, the sin of the father or the mother is that you're never home because you work too much.
Yeah, that's
but
not...
they live in these big houses, and it's like, well, how the fuck else are they supposed to pay for this shit?
Yeah, the ones that I've seen probably 8 to 10 of them.
Okay.
Are never like that.
Okay. I've seen 2. Like, literally sat down and watched 2.
Yeah.
God Is Not Dead and God Is Not Dead 2.
Those were not very... Well, the second one was really bad.
Yeah. There's a third one.
Yeah, of course.
And I didn't watch it, but they talked about it, and from what I got from them, it's pretty bad. No, they They make fun of it. It's funny the way they do it. But
Even the first one wasn't great. It wasn't terrible though. Some parts of it were terrible.
Here's the problem I have with it, because the premise I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with, even if it's coming from a Christian perspective. But be honest about it. Their portrayal of the atheist professor is not real.
No, it's not.
And
who
was
it that played
Kevin Sorbo.
Yeah, Kevin Sorbo.
And Kevin Sorbo makes up about 30% of their film watching so far.
That's funny.
So I don't know. He had cancer, and it was like, I don't know. It was probably more dangerous than what I'm giving it credit for, but it wasn't like one of the big cancers. And it went away. He got it cured, and he thanked God for it.
Okay. Well,
so now he's a big Christian guy.
So since you have your phone out, why don't you open up your little Podbean app?
Okay.
And let's talk about some of the shows we did last year.
Okay. We didn't do much on religion. I'll tell you that much.
No.
It came up very sparingly.
It did. So the very first episode we did of last year was episode 28.
Okay.
Which I thought was a really good episode. That was our Cards Against Humanity episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that one.
I did. Because it was something new. It was something I had wanted to do for a while. Which was, like some kind of trivia game or something like that. Yeah. Which we just did another one for.
Yeah, I haven't listened to this one yet. I've been sick. I didn't get out of bed for 2 days.
Come on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I felt like I was going to die, but sure.
You got your app up there?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
So,
excuse me.
I don't know. So what?
Well, the Cards Against Humanity was January 1st of 2018.
Yeah.
And then our next episode was looking back at year one. So kind of, the first part of what we're doing right now. Our second real episode of 2018 was Larry Nassar Can Burn in Hell.
Which was one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah,
I got a little fired up.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I got, I have a daughter, so I'm kind of a little more.
You don't even have to have a daughter to understand the evil of what was going on.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. It just made my blood boil just even going through. Because I was.
And it's still going. I mean, they're still talking about indictments for other people. And
I know that. But, we talked about some things some aspects of the cases that weren't necessarily talked about a lot on the news, because maybe they're a little more graphic than people really wanted to hear. But, so I got a little fired up. Yeah, so that was episode 30, which is Larry Nassar Can Burn in Hell. That was one of my favorites I had on my list.
The next episode, we went a little lighter and went top 10 rock albums of the 90s.
Which was okay.
Those are probably the episodes that don't get the most listens, but those are the episodes that I usually come more prepared than anything else, because I at least have to have some kind of a list. So I actually have to do work for those kind of episodes.
Generally, yeah.
Yeah, I came with paper, with lists of shit with that one. Why America is Filled with So Much Anger was 32. That was on February 25th.
The next one was one of my favorite ones also.
The conspiracy theory ones.
Yeah, episode 33 was Crazy Conspiracy Theories, which that was a really good episode. I think we kind of got into the weeds with some of the off the wall.
Well, that's kind of what I wanted to do, because a lot of the other ones, they're
always talked about.
They're always talked about, exactly. And that's kind of like, if we do something similar again, I really want to.
Yeah, we got into
like deep cuts.
We got into like lizard people.
I know.
Isn't that the one where we got into like how the Earth is really hollow, and like there's aliens that live inside the middle of the Earth, the center of the Earth, and there's a theory that the hollow center of the Earth, which has its own sun, is where the Nazis live.
Right. Yeah, but it was also supposed to be like an Eden of sorts.
Yes.
With Nazis.
Yes.
So I'm not really sure how that equates.
Yeah, but episode 33 was really good. I really like that one.
I don't really remember the technology helping or hurting society one too much.
Yeah,
I do remember our top 10 U.S. presidents and how heated that was.
They got a little heated.
Heated for us. We can scream and yell at each other, and then 10 seconds later we're laughing about something.
Yeah, it wasn't like religious heated, but it definitely was heated.
That one was rough.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of pointed that out, very light on the religious talk, because we get very yelly at that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, it's just one of those topics. But we got pretty heated. Well, I think the top 10 U.S. presidents was because I was putting President Obama at the tail end And you didn't even want him even in it.
Well, we argued about most of the presidents that we had that ended up on the list.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
I think there's probably 5 or 6 staples that we were probably agreed on.
I'd say 5 at best, and I think I probably argued with you at least on 5 of them.
Yeah, I bet.
At least on where they showed up on the list, maybe. But I know I argued with you on most of them. So, I mean, I don't do want to keep going through them. Right after that, another lighter episode. Do little green men really exist out there?
Yeah, that was yeah. We talked about aliens. That was a pretty good episode too.
And I think the moon landing and some of the conspiracy kind of
thing. We did.
I think we really kind of delved into the lizard people a lot with that one too.
Did we?
I think so, because the lizard people are supposedly aliens that are ruling the world.
Gotcha.
And 10 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I think...
That was our first Facebook Live.
Yeah, exactly.
We did pretty good. We had over 300 views, I think, last time I looked.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, most of that was after the fact, but we had about 25, 30 people watching at one point, didn't we?
I don't remember how many we had at one
We
point.
had quite a few. I don't remember how many.
Definitely more on that one than we did on our second
one. Yeah, but I think our timing was off on the second one.
Yeah, well,
and we didn't really advertise it too much.
No, we did not. I advertised for the episode 37, which was the 10 years of the MCU.
Right. Yeah, you did.
I advertised for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
On several different.
And we might have even had more, but we had some technical difficulties that started us late.
Yeah.
So theoretically.
So when I sent out the invitations, I sent out invitations on a couple of different podcast boards, groups on Facebook and Twitter and stuff. Well, not on Twitter, but on Facebook. And I follow some other stuff on Twitter and Instagram. But anyway, so I put some invitations out on Facebook, and there was a link on there so you could click to get a reminder that the show was going live. And then when we went to go live, the link didn't work.
Right.
So we had to cancel it
and start
a whole separate one. So anyone that actually clicked it to get a reminder
didn't get one.
Well, they got one, but the feed they went to, there was no show.
No show, right.
So we might have had more, possibly. But yeah, the second time we did one, I didn't really advertise it.
Actually, I don't even think we planned it. I mean,
we did. It was the third one.
Oh, the third one, it was just off the cuff.
We were like, hey, let's put this live.
And see what happens.
What happens.
But yeah, that was... I've actually found when we first started the show, I thought I would have more fun with the more topical, political type stuff. But I've come to find that I have more fun with the off-the-wall crazy shit.
Yeah, me too. I think, because episode 38, which was Creepy Unsolved Mysteries, that's my favorite episode we did the entire year.
I really enjoyed that one.
I mean, so... Obviously, I was part of the show,
right?
And then I listened to it while I edit it, and I've probably listened to the episode 3 times since then.
I might have to re-listen to it again
because it's if there's one episode you listen to out of our show from 2018, got to listen to episode 38.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
just because I get into that shit.
I've listened to every episode at least once.
Yeah.
With the exception of the very last one that was released.
But we did a bunch of good episodes, like the episode 39, which was the vinyl revival episode. That was
a good episode. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff. I mean, maybe other podcasts are talking about that. Maybe it's. I don't hear it in the podcasts I listen to.
Yeah. Well, episode 38 and episode 39 are 2 of our highest played episodes of the year.
Okay. So yeah, it says a lot about them, man. So. Now this is the one where I'm going to have a little bit of an argument with you. I don't know what the listen count was, but episode 40 was my idea. And it was a planned episode about nothing. It was, let's just go in and just bullshit.
And I hated it.
And
I hated going into it because I'm a very organized person.
Yeah.
Have you ever looked into so I was training a new person at work yesterday. And I opened up my email and she goes, "Oh, wow, you have nothing in your email." I said, "Oh, yes, I do. It's just all categorized in folders." I don't know if it's from working in a law firm and dealing with, 60 to 80 active cases at a time. You've got to be organized.
You got to compartmentalize everything.
Yeah. So that's kind of the way I run everything. And that's why with the show, there's been very few times, I mean, probably 2 episodes, where I've come in and not really had anything planned out.
Right.
You know, I typically have, I mean, we're doing a year-end review show, and I've got a list of notes in front of me.
Right. Which we're talking about what we've already done.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
I came in here pretty prepared myself, and I don't have a single fucking note.
Yeah.
Because I was here. I lived it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I just, it was really it was strange going
yeah.
into it, doing episodes.
But after doing it, though.
It ended up being a great episode.
Yeah. But we did get an actual listener complaint about it.
Did
from
we?
our coworkers. I don't want to say any names on here because
Yeah.
they don't, you know, but one of our coworkers who we know listens to the show, said you can't do a show about nothing. There was no cohesion to it, I think is what his actual words were. And I said, but it worked because it's just
That was kind of the point of it, though.
It was,
to
but
be different,
but
something different than what we
when he
normally
said
do.
that to me, it mirrored what you had said when I had suggested it. You know, it's like
Yeah.
the idea that you can't just do that. No one's gonna. But I thought it was kind of cool to just. I mean, because we tend to just rant and go off in different directions.
Well,
anyway.
yes, we did that for the very first 20 minutes of this episode.
Right, and I'm sure we'll do it at least once more before the end. So that one was always like, I still stand by that format. We don't necessarily have to do it that way.
Well,
But I think
we did another one of those episodes
yeah,
too.
and that one was your idea, I think.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that was
that
the
was
one I
because
came-
of Thanksgiving and everything. I just didn't have time to really work on it.
it really-
I was working a crap ton of hours at work,
and that wasn't really about nothing. It was just kind of like, let's just think of a couple things you might want to talk about. We
Yeah.
came in with just like 2 or 3 topics.
yeah,
And I think I came in with actual notes that time.
you did, and I didn't like that one as much as we did the first one.
Well, because it was still and I can tell you one of the problems was you relied way too heavily on me to guide the conversation with notes. I'm much better if I'm just going. Just
Yeah.
let me talk. When I actually have to like focus on reading and talking, it's like chewing gum and walking. I can't necessarily do it.
You know, and that's kind of the strange thing is when we did the Entertainment Now podcast, 25 episodes or whatever it was. Yeah, it was 25. But generally, we'd start the show off with like a quick review of what the movie was about.
Right.
Well, when we talked about a movie, we did, and I would read off like a synopsis that I would get off the internet.
Right.
And I can read. I mean, I'm a pretty decent reader, but I don't know what it is. You put a microphone in front of me, and I like stumble over the words.
Well, because I think it's. I mean, there's probably not saying it shouldn't. It does. It requires training to be able to focus on the mic or a camera and read and portray like you're not reading.
After 96 episodes, I should be able to do it.
But even so,
But it's like you put something in front of me, I have it's
difference-
difficult reading it.
and that's what I was dealing with because
on
I
air.
remember that episode specifically. I was stumbling over because I brought up
a study.
the study. That was the hard part because that was a lot of information in one little setup.
And I do a lot of editing to kind of make it flow.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't think I paid that much attention to that one because I was a little embarrassed by it. But that's the thing. I do much better just kind of going with the flow, just talking. When I have a structure, I don't mind a little structure. I mean, I like to know what I'm supposed to be talking about, and I should know something about what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I just like to talk. You know, I like to
Yeah,
have conversation.
and maybe that's kind of why the show. I think our on-air chemistry has gotten a lot better since the first,
Perhaps.
5, 10, 15 episodes.
Well, and I think we're more comfortable with the mics too.
Well, but I think I think we play off each other a little better now. I mean, because I'm so structured, and you just it kind of lets you do whatever.
Yeah, probably has a lot to do with it. But yeah, I don't know. Let's just getting back to the next episode. I don't remember how it played out, but I liked the topic.
Which episode?
This was 41. This was another one of your choices. Is the U.S. suffering from a form of PTSD? I just liked that idea, the concept of what you were going for on that. one.
PTSD from like 9/11.
9/11, yeah.
Yeah,
it actually made me think about it in a different way.
Yeah.
Just discussing it. So that's one that I got something out of. So.
Yeah, that ended up being a pretty good episode.
Mm-hmm. And I think Does Violent Media, that's episode 42, the one right after that.
Yeah.
Kind of falls it's not exactly the same.
Both along
it still kind of flows, with that.
Yeah.
Then we jumped into Is Rock and Roll Dead?
Which I think was our second Facebook Live.
Yep. Yeah, because what stands out for that episode for me...
We got some feedback from work about that one also.
Did we?
Yeah, from the same individual.
Excuse me. Positive or negative?
Negative.
Really?
Because he couldn't believe that we actually said that, or we thought that Rock was dead.
He's younger than us, though, isn't he?
He is. I guess his criticism was just that
the concept of what we were talking.
He was saying that rock music isn't dead. We're just not listening to the right music. And I guess, looking back on it, I guess
there might be some truth to that.
There is, but I guess my point during the whole episode was there is some good rock music out there. But when I say rock music is dead, I'm saying that there isn't. No one's making a Dark Side of the Moon, which I know you don't like the album, but no one's making.
I understand what you mean by that.
No one's making an Appetite for Destruction.
Right.
There is no 10. There's not a Nevermind out there.
Right.
Who's, and that's kind of what I was talking about during the episode, is really in the past 15 years, there really hasn't been like a true iconic rock album.
Right. I think we really kind of established that since, say, like American Idiot.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Around that time was probably one of the last, like, iconic albums.
In terms of, like, mainstream rock.
Yes.
So, just to be clear on that.
Yeah, because you look at, like, the albums I mentioned. Those are albums that transcended rock music.
Right.
Someone that's not a rock and roll fan
knew some of the songs.
Or knows the album.
Right.
You know the album American Idiot. You know the album... I don't know. You can throw whatever, but
everyone knows "Smells Like Teen Spirit" from Nevermind.
Yes,
So yeah, I know what you mean.
The Wall. Everyone knows what those albums are.
Right.
There isn't,
and I think that's an example of where you would argue is that really an iconic album necessarily
The Wall?
next to Dark Side of the Moon.
I would classify The Wall as an iconic album.
I would too.
Do I think it's a great album? No.
I guess that's where I was going with it.
No. And that's kind of the whole point of that episode was, where is that iconic album?
What's funny is I've typically, because you've been listening to a lot of Pink Floyd lately.
I have been.
And it's kind of I've been like, maybe I should give them a more clear or fair look.
Assessment.
And ironically, I'm wearing a Pink Floyd t-shirt.
I noticed that earlier.
Yeah, it was given to me. It was a freebie, so I was like, fuck it. But I just thought that was ironic. Anyway.
Did you actually ever go back to listen to any of it? Or?
Not yet, but no. It's been on my mind. I've got some little tidbits added to a playlist to start out with.
As far as like the album The Wall, there's some really great songs on that album.
Not enough for a double album.
Probably not.
Yeah, maybe enough for a single, but no, that's kind of questionable.
Yeah, but then again, there's also several tracks on there that aren't really songs. They're kind of like interludes between other tracks. And
would you argue then that if they were to just take all the songs from the film The Wall, which makes up maybe about half of the double album by itself, and that would be The Wall, and get rid of the rest of that? Do you think that would be a fair assessment?
Maybe.
Because I think most of the songs that I like on the album are in the film. I thought everything from the album was in No.
At some point,
maybe in little nuggets here and there, but in terms of what songs had not necessarily full play but had some essence to the film, it's not that much of the album. It might be half.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the album The Wall has probably 3 of Pink Floyd's best songs.
Which would be
Mother, Hey You, and Comfortably Numb.
I agree with you on. Actually, I can agree with you on all three of those. I'm not going to say they're the best Pink Floyd songs. I really need to reassess the band, but I like all three of those songs.
Yeah. And then I don't know. Pink Floyd just has some really. I wouldn't say they've got. I wouldn't say overall their catalog is really strong. I would say they had 3 really strong albums.
Right.
With Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, and The Wall.
And I like. I'd have to find out what they are, but there's at least 3 tracks on Animals that I like.
Yeah.
And that was. I don't remember when that came out. If that was post or whichever. Where that falls in the catalog, but I
don't remember where that came.
It was like 3 or 4, and it's funny because I only remember hearing them a couple times, but specifically the first time I heard any songs off that album was with our friend Jeremiah, and he had it on vinyl. And we were over at his house one day, and he was playing it, and I was like, "Oh, I'd never heard this Pink Floyd album." It's like, "Oh, that song's pretty good," and it's "Oh, that one was pretty good too."
And that was Animals.
It was Animals, yeah.
I'll have to go back and listen to it. I don't know. There's like a deep cuts track playlist on Apple Music for Pink Floyd, and it's like it covers a lot of the like off the wall Syd Barrett music.
See, Piper at the Gates of Dawn.
That's a really good album.
I like a lot of that album. Yeah,
for what it was kind of like
it was psychedelic. But it was like 1966 or 67 when that came out.
It was.
And and I guess that kind of goes
mid-ish 60s.
I don't know if we made this point in our Rock and Roll is Dead, but that kind of goes to what I think about as rock and roll. Say that theoretically, I don't remember if it was 66 or 67, but for Piper at the Gates of Dawn.
It was 67.
67. Okay, perfect. Now that album comes out, and we listen to it and go, "Oh wow, that's different, and it's this and this." But in that same year...
Animals was 77, by the way. So it was between Wish You Were Here and The Wall.
The Wall. No, so you got 67, you got Piper at the Gates of Dawn, you're like, oh, that's weird and psychedelic. But that same year you get Sgt. Pepper, which is nothing like that.
No.
And you get... oh, God, what was the Moody Blues album that came out that year? I don't remember. But needless to say, all the popular music that was coming out that year... was all rock, but it was all different.
Yeah.
You listen to some of the modern music. Now, granted, I don't know. I couldn't tell you a modern rock band like 5 years or younger necessarily, other than a few that I've heard names from like your kids and stuff.
Well, even they listen to like Panic at the Disco, but they've been around for a decade.
Right. But go to like, we criticize Nickelback and Three Doors Down and Puddle of Mud, but they all fucking sound the same.
Well, I mean, yes,
to a degree. They're almost interchangeable.
That's kind of the issue I had.
And that really kind of started in the 90s a little bit, but it wasn't, you still had originality in the music, and I think that was really more of our point.
Yeah.
They were not getting the iconic albums because we're not getting anything original.
But I mean,
I know.
At this point,
is there anything? I think. Well, look at pop music. Lady Gaga, when she came out, that was original. I mean, granted, she wasn't necessarily doing anything different than, say, Madonna. She was doing it in a different way.
Yeah.
Or Cyndi Lauper.
I would like to think that somewhere, as we speak right now, there's some kid sitting in his garage with a guitar that's someday going to blow everyone away.
That's what I'm hoping to. And I'm open for it.
Going back to something really different, though, is if you are a Pink Floyd fan, or you kind of like that era, that 60s and 70s kind of music, it was really interesting because you go from Piper at the Gates of Dawn, which came out in 67, and then you go to the next year, which is A Saucer Full of Secrets, which has to be the weirdest fucking album I think I've ever listened to in my life.
The most I listened to it was when you played it for me a couple weeks ago.
Because the song A Saucer Full of Secrets is like this 10 or 11 minute song, which...
just like psychedelic sound effects, right?
It sounds like it belongs in the creepiest horror show you've ever seen.
I love it. It
sounds like it should be in some crazy haunted house, is what it sounds like.
And it's not written by Syd Barrett.
No, it's not.
Which was weird. You'd think he would be the one who written it.
Do you remember who did write it, though?
It was Waters and somebody else. I don't remember. It was two of the band members wrote it.
Okay.
But maybe Waters and Mason. Roger Waters and Dave Mason, I think. Okay. I who it was.
Adam Hart Mother wasn't too bad either. That was from 70.
Okay. And see, I don't know anything off that album. So
the reason I know some of those songs is from that Deep Cuts playlist on.
I guess my problem.
If you have Apple Music, just plug in Pink Floyd, go to their page, scroll down the bottom. It's one of the playlists.
Right. I'll put together my own because I'll just go because that'll make me listen to all the albums.
Yeah.
But I guess my image of Pink Floyd is kind of clouded by Dark Side of the Moon because though it has good songs on it,
it's got some really good songs.
I don't think it's as good as people make it out to be. Relatively speaking, to albums that came out in the same year that I like, that are not. I'm not saying are iconic albums by any means, but when I compare 1973, the albums that stand out to me, Dark Side of the Moon is very low on the list.
Really,
just personal opinion.
Okay.
And I mean, it's like the second or third highest selling album of all time, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So I mean, people like it.
I think Eagles' Greatest Hits is number 1 now.
But when
Thriller's number 2, and then
Dark Side
is 3.
But when I listen to it, I just don't hear that. I don't hear an album that deserves that level. In my opinion, I hear a good album.
It is really good.
I just don't hear that.
I think you also have to look at a lot of the music that was coming out. It was like the.
Well, that was the era of progressive rock.
Yeah, but it was. I feel like Dark Side of the Moon was one of those albums that was kind of like the nail in the coffin of the hippie movement. 73 was the end.
I would say the Alice Cooper Band was the nail in the coffin of the hippie movement, and. If you go outside of rock, it was really Charles Manson.
But I'm talking about, with as mainstream as Dark Side of the Moon was, it was one of those albums that transcended genre to sell as much as
perhaps because
many albums as it
has.
The
things I like about the album are not the rock or psychedelic elements. It's more the R&B elements of it that I enjoy.
But there's really 4 songs I think really make that album. It's Breathe, Money, Brain Damage, and Eclipse.
Yeah, those are good songs.
Yeah.
I mean, I like I said, I'm not arguing I'm not saying it's a bad album. And again, this is strictly just my opinion. But I think 1973, there were other albums out there that were artists I thought were pushing the envelope. Because, and it is tied to the progressive rock thing, because that was really maybe the last good year for progressive rock, arguably, and Pink Floyd is lumped into the progressive rock era.
Yeah,
they're you go to any list on any website that lists progressive rock bands, Pink Floyd is always on that list, and if they're rating them, they're always high on the list as far as close to number 1. And they're not a progressive rock band. I've heard them called an art rock band.
Really? I mean, I see,
and I
a lot of
that
is so subjective, though.
It is. But I definitely don't necessarily see them as a progressive rock band. But if you're going to lump them into that category, and you're going to give me an album like Dark Side of the Moon, where it, by progressive rock standards, is relatively simplistic. There's nothing wrong with simplistic. And there's really nothing wrong with simplistic progressive music, but it's not on the same level.
Yeah.
Again, my personal opinion, but I've always had a hard time with that when people are like, "You're stupid because you don't like Dark Side." It's not that I don't like it. I think it's fucking overrated. I think the band Pink Floyd is overrated, but that's something I'm going to reevaluate after listening to some of their older stuff and all that.
Yeah, I guess I can see where some of that comes from, because they do have a rather large body of work that I think a lot of it isn't really all that great.
Right. Well, and just for reference here, 73 saw the release of 2 Alice Cooper albums. And both of those albums, I think, are head and shoulders above Dark Side of the Moon. And that's $1 Billion Babies and Muscle of Love.
I think definitely $1 Billion Babies is a better album.
I can see that. Because
by the way, speaking of Muscle of Love, I saw a used copy of that at Dearborn Music. I almost bought it. It was in the cardboard box and all that stuff too. I probably should have got it.
I got the remaster repressing.
Yeah.
Because it's not in the cardboard box.
Yeah, it was I don't know. I kind of like the
well, I wish you would have told me that because I had a used copy of it. I would have given to you, but I didn't think you'd want it in the cardboard box.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't fit nicely on your shelf. It was terrible.
Does it?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just get the remaster.
The remaster one, yeah. The liner elements are much nicer too. So.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. The box was cool. It was a cool concept for 1973, but.
And that was kind of the other thing is that and that's something I think you miss in music today. With digital music and stuff like that
is that artwork and creativity.
Zipper catches skin with the functional zipper on it. And
right. Was it?
No,
Sticky Fingers.
Sticky Fingers. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking of.
Zipper catches skin was Alice Cooper. It doesn't even have an album cover, really.
No,
it's one of his.
You knew what I was talking about.
I did, yeah.
I was trying to look up what some of the best-selling albums of '73.
I mean, and even I think probably some of the pop rock that was at the time.
Yeah.
Was still arguably better than some of the Dark Side of the Moon album. I mean, 73. I'm going to. I don't want to mention all the albums that I'm thinking of because it will pigeonhole me into an area. So. I mean, and I'm admitting that. I'm admitting that it's from a personal perspective.
Here, I'll kind of run through this one of the lists I pulled up. So it had obviously Dark Side of the Moon was going to be number one.
Yeah.
On it. House as a Whole is number 2.
I would put that above Dark Side of the Moon.
Really?
Yeah,
I did not. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that.
I like House of the Holy better than Physical Graffiti.
Quadrophenia was number 3.
Not really that familiar with that album.
I'm not a big Who fan.
No.
The Wild, the Innocent, and the E Street Shuffle, which is Bruce Springsteen, which is it's a decent album. It's not one of his better albums.
No, and I'm not a big Springsteen fan, but
Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, not a big Elton John fan either.
No, but you could argue that some of the tracks on that are better than some of the tracks in Dark Side of the Moon.
I don't think it's a better album overall than Dark Side of the Moon.
I'd have to listen to the whole thing all the way through.
They've got Band on the Run at number 6.
I don't like Paul McCartney. Yeah. I do like Paul McCartney's new album, though. And actually, I do like Paul McCartney's music, but it's not limited to like one specific album.
Pronounced Leonard Skinner by Leonard Skinner was on that list.
I never really much cared for Skinner.
Yeah, I mean, there's some decent songs, but they had... I
don't like
I don't know. It's just...
But, I mean, it goes to show that, I mean...
They've got, at number 10, Mott the Hopple on here.
Mott the Hoople?
Hoople, that's one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've ever listened to Mott the Hoople.
No.
It's like Husker Du. I've never listened to Husker Du.
I know who they are, but...
Yeah, I'm familiar with them. And really, I'm only familiar with them because of Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Wasn't Wayne's World?
I think it was.
Some bands that sound like sicknesses or something. He got the Husker Du. Or something like that.
I don't know. Let's get back to our topic.
We went way off topic there.
Especially since we're already like almost an hour.
Are we? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, just quickly, we'll go...
I don't even remember where we left. Oh, we left off.
Rock and Roll's Dead.
Which episode number was that?
43.
So, 47, which was the craziness that is the Flat Earth conspiracy.
That's another one that I really enjoy because that's the kind of stuff I think we can make light of the stupidity that exists in our world.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily affect us, whereas politics.
It does.
It affects us.
It affects everyone.
And it's okay to make light of it. It's okay to joke about it, but at the end of the day, you really have to take it kind of seriously.
By the way, on a side note, can you hear me eating my M&Ms?
I don't notice that kind of stuff anymore.
All right.
I mean, I gotta listen to my.
I just don't want to listen.
I'm trying desperately not to snort my snot in the mic.
Into the microphone.
Okay. The microphone.
I just don't want to listen back to the show.
And go here, crunch, crunch.
My God,
nothing will beat. Not our last episode, which was the cards episode, or the trivia episode. Game. The episode before that,
which was one of my favorite. I like that. It was the favorite baseball movies episode.
Okay, I think through that episode, all you hear is me chomping on gummies.
Yes,
I'm just like through the whole thing. So
yeah, good job, Ian.
Yeah, it's all right.
But
Another one, now this is the kind of stuff that I like. I could almost even do a whole podcast by myself on this kind of stuff. Because I know this stuff. Where does Star Wars universe go post Last Jedi? And we're starting to see now. Finally, I mean, this was
not very surprisingly. That was probably one of our least played episodes.
Do you think it was least played because the people that know about our show just aren't Star Wars fans, or is it because Last Jedi was so divisive?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, when I post the show online, and I post about it on Twitter, I put the Star Wars hashtags and stuff in there, so
right.
It's easy to find it if you're a fan of it. But I don't know.
This is a good one because I think this is maybe the first one that your wife was on when it was just us and her.
The horror movie one, favorite horror movies was episode 49.
49, and I think that was the first time she was on just by herself with us.
I think so. Yeah, it was. That turned out really well.
It turned out really good. Yeah.
Once she got used to talking into a microphone,
and that's what I mean though. But once she opened up, she really kind of she blended in with the conversation really well.
Yeah.
This one was the one I had the most worry about, and it's ironic because I think it's our longest episode.
Which one?
The next one, episode 50. Best, most influential years in music.
That was a really long episode.
Yeah, it was an hour and 47 minutes.
Yeah.
I think when going into it, I think it turned out really good, the way it worked out, but going into it, how one determines influence, and kind of goes back to what I was talking about with Dark Side of the Moon. It's we were able to kind of quantify it to a degree.
Yeah.
But it's still a matter of interpretation.
Oh, of course. But then again, most shit is.
Yeah. And, I thought the episode turned out really good, but it was an episode that I thought was going to be really bad.
Really?
Yeah. I was concerned about it.
That was the episode where I was like, it's episode 50. I don't care about time limits. We're just going to talk.
Yeah. And we did.
We did.
Yeah.
For almost
honestly,
2 hours.
I've always felt that I don't care. If we talk for 3 hours, we talk for 3 fucking hours. But
you tend to lose if it goes a lot past
an
hour. You tend to lose people.
Yeah, if you're not structured, I guess. Because I've actually, I think I told you about this. There's one podcast I listened to. They did a special episode, and there's 3 guys on the show, and they listed down their top 50 slasher films, and it was a 7-hour podcast.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And they recorded it all in one shot. And though it took me several days to listen to it, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed going back and knowing exactly where they left off. And I've actually listened to it twice.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't probably listen to it again because there's a lot of movies they mentioned that I haven't seen.
Most people aren't like that, though. Most people don't have 7 hours dedicated.
Well, no, and that's just me in my car. That's me driving to work, driving home.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it took me several days to listen to it. But it was like it almost became like a comfort blanket, getting through their 50. Because technically that's 150 movies they talked about between the 3 of them. I mean, there was a lot of overlap, especially near the end. But
I don't know. So those were some of my favorite episodes. I don't know if there's anything else you had left to go over, but
well, I'm excited for what's to come.
Is there anything?
Well, I was thinking.
Do? I mean,
we really should continue to keep the politics on the far limited level because
which we have been.
And I think because we're going to have to. I mean, and I don't see any reason why it won't. But I mean, come 2020, politics are going to be dominating a lot of stuff, and it might even have to dominate a little bit more of our.
Well, it's time. Like we did a couple of shows around the election.
We did the midterms, and we've done some politics shows in between.
Yeah,
but I would really like to focus more on the fun stuff, like the conspiracy stuff, the funny, really odd, but
and if you notice, those were some of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
The ones where we talked about
I want to kind of focus more on that kind of stuff.
My list has nothing. I don't have anything political in my list other than the top 10 U.S. presidents.
Yeah, and that wasn't
because I had a list of like 8 or 10 shows.
I like when we argue, but there are times that we argue that I'm like we're just arguing. We're not really accomplishing
because
anything.
it gets circular.
Yeah. And I think we had one of our better, real quick, because we didn't get this far. One of our better arguments was the one we did, the Baby It's Cold Outside and the Blue Laws. We argued about Blue Laws. I enjoyed that argument because we both had clear, defined difference of opinion.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, when we argue, it's not defined. We're arguing minor details,
and we weren't arguing.
And we're we technically agree, but the details that about those is what we're arguing about. Whereas with the Blue Laws, it was like I said, it's clearly defined our differences on that. And I really enjoyed that argument.
Yeah, so I mean, topic wise, I don't really know. I mean, I liked the trivia game we did. I'd like to do some, more of that. Maybe do like a trivial pursuit kind of thing.
Right.
Or
I would almost like to have some kind of like a competition, like maybe even a multi-episode competition of some kind.
Yeah.
It would be hard. We have to really work out the details of it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a 2020 thing, but I'd like to do something like that. There's a British show they do it every year. It's called the Big Fat Quiz Show of whatever year.
Yeah.
And it's usually three groups of two, and they're all comedians. British comedians or actors and stuff. And it usually goes about an hour and a half, but they just basically like quiz each other. Well, there's a host, and he quizzes the groups on just stuff happening in the year.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we do something not exactly like that, but do some kind of a quiz kind of thing.
And that's why I said like Trivial Pursuit or something like that.
But make kind of a bigger epic deal out of it. But like I said, that could be maybe more later in the year or next year.
Yeah.
Because it really has to be
that'd be
planned out.
Yeah.
And if we planned it properly, we could almost do it a Facebook Live type of thing on it.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I want to do some more Facebook Live stuff. I kind of like doing that.
I think we need to establish some kind of a better setup for it, like camera-wise or angle-wise.
Okay.
If we do that. But, I mean, that's minor details so we can work out.
Yeah, we need to get more of me in the camera and less of you. So.
Which is really difficult to do because I tend to take up a lot of space physically.
And then it's like, as far as like podcast stuff, I know I said it last year. I need to get, and I'm going to say it again this year. I need to get more involved in the social media stuff, and I think you do too.
Yes, I do, definitely. I think we need to find ways to kind of advertise too.
Yeah,
get the word out.
I've been kind of not. I've been reluctant to put money into.
Well, and I think we can still do it without going that to monetary or large amounts because I mean, everything's going to cost a little bit of money, but. And we're also in a position where we can share the cost. Yeah. So that's not even an issue. But, I'm with you there. We don't make money on this. This is strictly a hobby and it's fun. If it ever did make money, that would be one thing. Yeah. Then we could justify putting a lot of money into it.
Yeah.
But I think there's ways we can at least expand our sphere a bit.
Yeah.
Whether it catches more people.
We've grown the show from what it was originally to where it is now. It hasn't grown as much as I'd like it to.
Right. But I think we're limited as to where where we're known.
Yeah.
We've kind of grown beyond. We've filled the space that we had. Now we need to find more space.
And another thing I was looking at that would kind of go along those lines is joining a podcast network. Mm-hmm. And I've looked at a couple, and I'm not overly thrilled with it.
And I've heard some good things about that, and I've heard some bad things.
Well, the good thing is you get more exposure,
right?
Some of the downsides of it, they kind of input their own kind of advertising and stuff into it. They're
making that money off.
They're making, so the one I was looking at, it's split 70-30.
Okay.
So we would get 70% of it. They would get 30, I think is the way it works.
Okay.
But if we were to bring any of our own advertising into it, we would keep all the profits from that, which we're far from doing anything as far as like advertising.
I mean, it's something we should look at, but that's down the road.
But some of the other ones I looked at, you kind of lose the rights to your content.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm not going to do.
Because once you start doing that, then I worry about them starting to dictate content too, and that's that.
Yeah, that's
the reason I do this is because we can say whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah,
and I like that.
Yeah,
period.
It's our own thing.
It's our thing.
It's gonna stay our thing.
And I've said that a million times. It's our show. We'll say whatever we want. Period.
Yeah. I mean, it's in. There was another one I looked at where, that had pretty big reach, but they do all the editing and stuff for your show, and it's like,
how do you know what they're editing and why they're editing it?
Yeah, and I'm not.
That's control of content.
Yeah. I mean, I like editing our show.
Right.
I mean, you wouldn't edit the show the same way I do, but I like.
But that's true of anything.
Yeah.
If we were film editors, there's no way you would edit. We could both sit down with the same film, and both edits would be different.
Yeah, and that's something that I've personally have come a long way in over the course of these 95 previous episodes of all of the shows we've done, is the editing aspect of it. Editing it's an art. There's an art to it,
right?
To make it flow and the way you kind of cut things and make things fit. And I don't do it very often, but there have been times I've cut content out of shows, which I know you're not a big fan of.
No. Because if I said it, it's fucking important. And if you cut my words, you're cutting out important.
you're cutting me.
You're depriving the future of my wisdom. I'm just saying.
And I guess the other thing is I would like us to be a little bit more consistent in the quality of our episodes. And I think we have. We've come a long way from, 2 years ago.
Right. Are you talking about the sound quality or just in general?
In general, the general quality. Because we've had some episodes that I think were kind of duds. And I think you're always going to come across some of those.
Oh, I'm sure. Give me an example, though.
Oh, I can't go back and think of an episode off the top of my head. But there's been a couple of episodes that they're not bad episodes, but they're like, okay. And I feel, and I would like to not have any of those, but I think it's
I can see a couple that were politics that I feel that way about.
Okay, so
I just saw one. Another one of my favorites that we didn't even talk about was a peek behind the life in General Curtin.
Well, that wasn't done this past year.
Oh, that's right. We were mainly focusing.
Wow.
You're right. Yeah.
Okay, good job, Ian.
I'm old. All years are the same.
That was a good episode, though.
Yeah,
that was in July of 2017.
Yeah.
And the reason I know that because that was the episode we pre-recorded that because I was on vacation.
That's right. We did 2 episodes in one night.
Yep, that was fun. Actually, yeah. Well,
we recorded 2 in one night, and then you were able to edit
it. Yeah. I don't know, Ian. Is there anything else? We're kind of running along now. So, is there anything else you want to add to it?
We haven't really sat down and started planning out the next year, but I think we both are kind of on the same wavelength about, trying to keep it fun. Yeah. Not just for us, but to maybe make it fun for the audience too, and get away from some of the drearier topics.
Yeah, like the suicide episode that I wanted to do.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The topic is important, but I'm just like, I think what replaced that was the episode about nothing.
I think it was,
and because I was just like, no, dude, I can't. It's just too depressing. But that being said, I mean, we're gonna have to have some of that in there. It's life in general. It's everything. I'm working on some personal projects.
Yeah. Why don't you go in to talk about that real quick before the show ends?
Because the first one it'll probably be
while I eat some of my M&Ms.
Yeah, you chomp on your M&Ms. I'm going to resuscitate, maybe temporarily, maybe permanently. I don't know. I am going to resuscitate Ian Takes on the World. I'm going to change the format a bit. I haven't completely worked out all the details, but I have a setup very similar to what Nick's got now, so I can play around with it, maybe more on the higher quality level that he does with life in general. And I'm also going to be trying to start a new podcast with a friend of mine, and it's going to be strictly like horror movies.
Which actually I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think it's going to work out really good. So that's coming down the line. I'm thinking the first episode of that maybe April.
Really, that far out?
Yeah, because I really want to work out a lot of the details, because a lot of it's more just finding time to get together and do the show. Because it's not topical, that's going to be like a pre-recorded thing. We're going to do like blocks of episodes at a time, and I'll edit them and release them. Once they're starting, once we get one out, they'll come out regularly. I don't know if it's going to be bi-weekly or weekly or what yet, but once the first episode comes out, it'll be coming out very consistently after that. So, I mean, that's what I got going
Hopefully
on.
you do it before April. I mean, that's kind of far out, though.
I'm just trying to be realistic. Yeah, it's going to be before April, now that you mention it. It's...
'Cause, I mean, I don't really know what's really holding you guys back at this point, other than getting together and recording them.
Yeah, that's really all it is at this point. Maybe we could...
You got the setup and all that?
Well, we'll say no later than March, and most likely sometime in February then. Once I start thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we're gonna record blocks of episodes. We already have 26 episodes planned out.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we're going to record that many at one shot, but once we get a nice block and get kind of a recording schedule going, then I'm taking over all the editing on that, and
so you get to feel my pain.
I get to feel your pain, and I'm going to enhance it because we're going to be trying to do some within the confines of copyright law, which I'm still looking at too.
Yeah, which is pretty difficult because I looked into it also.
Yeah. We're going to be trying to work in some sound clips and other things. Some of it public domain. We've already found some public domain stuff that we can use. But if we're talking about a specific movie, we want to have some specific sound bites from it.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fun because not only am I going to... We're gonna be experimenting with doing it in mic, I guess, live, putting the sound clips in.
Uh-huh.
But if they don't work, I have to be able to edit them in later too, so they sound better, so they blend together.
Oh yeah, you would probably almost definitely have to do it in later.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking, but it really depends. We're gonna play around with it. That's the other reason why I was thinking, because I want to play around with that just on my own. So that once we have episodes recorded, I can go in and just start editing right away. I don't want to have to be playing around with episode 1. I want to already have a kind of a way of doing it.
I gotcha.
That I can refine over time. But when I do episode 1, I want to have a process A, B, C, D, and be done with it.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So that's the other reason I was saying April, but I can still do that.
Yeah.
Because I can mess around with that a little bit. But like I said, Ian Takes on the World is coming back. It's going to be slightly different format. It's not going to be politics, I don't think. It might still be ranty because that's just me, but it's
if you haven't noticed.
Yeah, in case you haven't noticed. But I'm going to try and keep that a little bit more lighthearted too, and not so dreary if possible. And we could have that. I could have an episode of that probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
So that'll be out by the end of January, definitely by the first week of February, and then hopefully, the other podcast is going to be strictly horror movies.
With me starting nursing school in August, I won't have time to really do
much more than just the one show.
Much more than the one show.
Right.
So.
And then, hey,
I've got nothing coming up.
Well, and quite honestly, what I would like to be working towards is we kind of have our own little podcast network. We have what's it called? What's our
what are we talking
Blue
about?
Sunday Productions?
Oh, Blue Sunday Media?
Yes, Media, which is kind of our own little private podcast network. It's our thing.
Yeah.
And I don't see any reason why these other podcasts can't fit into that.
Yeah.
And just be kind of part of the family,
Yeah.
And, work off of each other, advertise for each other and all that stuff.
Which we did that with the other shows too. So.
Right, exactly. But this will kind of take a lot of the pressure off of you, and we'll have a lot more content.
Yeah.
And not necessarily rely on you to have to edit all of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Part of it and record it. So,
well, that's cool.
I mean, those are the plans. Two extras coming, and if they work out and I get a little less lazy than I actually am, Maybe more. Who knows? 'Cause I don't have a problem with doing I would want to do, if I was going to do other things, I'd want to do like a Star Trek thing, or at least maybe a sci-fi genre type of podcast.
Yeah. And that's kind of the cool thing about this media is
you do whatever you want.
You do whatever you want.
Yep.
But
because but the problem with that is finding other people to talk to, because I know
it's hard to do a show by yourself, by the way,
and it is, especially if you're talking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's one thing to just have like a random, like Ian takes something.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother game if you're talking about a specific type of thing.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to do, I don't want to do like a sci-fi genre podcast by myself.
Yeah.
I want to bounce ideas off of people, talk about things.
I got you.
So, if I was going to do another podcast above and beyond what we're already talking about, that would be it. But I need to find people who have the knowledge of those things to work with. So,
but I don't know. You got anything else to add?
Oh, that's it. Other than thanks for putting up with my raggedy voice.
Ian's cold.
I
will say
I sound better now than I did 3 days ago. So.
I will say that after 2 years of doing this, we do have a lot of knowledge about the production of podcasts.
And I think we have a ways to go too. I mean,
we do.
There's plenty of room to grow and expand.
But what I was going to say is, if you're out there listening and you're like, hey, I might want to start my own podcast, hit us up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I put our contact information into every episode. Feel free to get a hold of us and say, hey, I'm interested in doing this. What are maybe the minimums of what I need, the avenues, especially when it comes to, I've got a lot of experience now in site hosting and site building and all that stuff. And
which you're going to tell me with too.
RSS feeds and I kind of and that was the other thing, we switched hosting sites in the middle of in the middle of the show not in 2017, not in 2018, but in 2017 we switched hosting sites, so RSS porting and things like that. So.
But even like you said, quality, I mean, bare minimum stuff. You can listen to our first episode and then listen to an episode that's more recent.
And you can see
and you
there's
can
big
just
quality
right there
so.
And see, this is bare minimum. My first 3 episodes, and even my Parts and Bites, was just me and a USB mic.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's the same recording program, but it's just me and a USB mic.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much more basic than that.
You can tell
but you can tell the quality difference and think about that. Yeah.
So I mean, any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@lifeandjournalpodcast.com. Hit us up on Twitter at LIG Pod. You can always message us on our Facebook page, which is Life and Journal Podcast. But I mean, follow us on Podbean and iTunes, and feel free to leave us a review and
even the shitty ones. We'll take it. I mean.
And that's the thing. That's really the easiest way to grow in anything is feedback.
Right.
So let us know whatever you think. And follow us on social media so you can kind of keep up with episodes as they're released. And that's about all I got, Ian.
One thing I would like to shoot for is I want to get enough listeners so that eventually we can have like a celebrity rivalry with another podcast. Or you can like trash talk each other. And
there you go. Sure, why not?
I don't care which podcast it is, but just go. Every week we send a jab at them. They send a jab at us. I mean, and then it becomes like an East Coast West Coast thing. One of us gets shot. And I don't know.
I'm definitely Tupac. I'm sorry.
Tupac's dead.
I know, but
all right.
If I'm one of them, you can be Biggie. I'll be Tupac. Oh no! How about you can be Tupac? I'll be Dr. Dre. How about that?
Because he's still alive.
He's still alive.
Yeah, and rolling in those beat style.
He's rolling in that Apple money.
Yes.
But all right, that's all I got.
Yeah, that's it too.
I do want to thank everyone that's supported the show and all of our listeners out there across the globe, because that's the other cool thing is knowing that it's humbling to know that there are people in Ireland and.
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, that listen to the show. So
I mean, Saudi Arabia, you can't even be a journalist without getting your head
I don't think
sawed off. But we listen to us.
We don't have any plays in Saudi Arabia.
I thought we did.
No,
there was an Arabic country that we did though.
One of them, but it wasn't Saudi Arabia.
Okay,
so.
Well, but anyway. Saudi Arabia is not even the worst one.
Well, if you listen to the president, they're all shitholes, but, you know.
Not Saudi Arabia, because they have money.
They got money, that's right. But,
yeah.
All right, well, that's all I got.
Yeah, me too.
All right, well, until next time.
Talk to y'all later.
Peace.
Play my role, let me tell you about it. This shit right here, man, I'm about it. Only real niggas reside around me. Your old lady drop a guard around me. Dip like I know you can, bitch. Show me the ropes like we in the ring. Got you two cobras, you wanna hang. Shoulder to shoulder, them niggas basic. You know I won't lie. You know that I ain't for that fuck shit. You niggas alright, but I'm way better and she love it. Know that y'all sick as fuck. Here go this tissue, bruh. We taking the dub, hoping you get you some. This hit like a pick me up. She taking my drugs. Know they see the sign. That's some dollar signs. Know they sick as fuck. Know they sick as fuck. Tell them get well soon. Tell them get well soon. Know you sick as fuck. Get well soon.
Oh shit. Watch out, you done called Billy. Oh shit. Right now, and I'm smiling in your face, bitch. With a gold smile, you should probably make placement to your eye. Niggas sick as fuck. Standing with niggas who down for that party. Who down for some bitches who showing their bodies. Swear to God, nigga, this Molly got me